This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last class, we have seen about Spring MVC module. The main use of going with MVC is to develop dynamic web applications, and MVC stands for Model View Controller. And the main use of going with MVC architecture is to make the model independent of view, right? So whenever we are developing web applications, think of MVC architecture. Today, let us move to the next and very important module, that is Spring Boot module. Very important and very simple. What is the Spring Boot is? It is a Spring module. It's a Spring module which provides rapid application development. Which provides what? Rapid application development, which we call RAD feature to Spring framework. So what are the Spring applications we are developing up to now? Same applications we can develop using Spring Boot rapidly. That's the main use of Spring Boot module. How we can develop is, up to now, what are the Spring applications we developed, like Spring JDBC or Spring ORM or Spring MVC? We are creating Spring Bin XML configuration file. So when we use Spring Boot, this configuration file is not required to create. It is automatically configures this XML file. So the main use is, it is used to avoid writing Spring Bin XML configuration file. So this file is not at all required to create here when we use Spring Boot module. Then one more advantage is, so whenever we were using the respective dependencies like Spring JDBC, we have added Spring JDBC module, Spring JDBC dependency in pom.xml file. So in order to work with Spring ORM, again we added dependency. To connect to MySQL database, we have added the MySQL connector dependency, Hibernate dependencies. So we are keep on adding these dependencies in pom.xml file. So that is also not required here. That is automatically configure Spring by adding the project dependencies in pom.xml file. So you need not go to this Maven repository, copy the code and paste it in pom.xml file. This is also not required. Then one more advantage of going with Spring Boot module is, when we go with web applications, we require a server so that we can deploy the application onto the server. So up to now we are using what? Tomcat server. So what we have done, we have downloaded Tomcat server and we have configured in Eclipse IDE. So that is also not required because it comes with embedded Tomcat server. So you need not even configure the Tomcat server. It automatically comes with what? Embedded Tomcat server. So because of these features, we can develop Spring applications what? Rapidly. Now, in order to work with the Spring Boot module, we can make use of one IDE. We can make use of one IDE called as Spring Boot IDE. Spring Boot IDE, which we call Spring Tool Suite. Spring Tool Suite, shortcut we say STS. Just you can open search engine like Google and you can say STS download. Let me show this. STS download. The first link what you are getting, spring.io tools. Open this link. This is the URL you can use to download Spring Tool Suite. In this page, you can find Spring Tools for Eclipse. So it's a plugin added to Eclipse IDE. So this Spring Tool Suite looks like Eclipse only. It is Eclipse only. It's a plugin added to Eclipse. So here, Spring Tool Suite for Eclipse. Based on your operating system, we need to download. So when you click on Windows, in my case it is Windows. So when you click on Windows, it's going to download the software. See here, When you click on this Windows, it's going to download the software, and what it's downloading, a jar file. It's downloading a self-extracting jar file. Okay, let me just cancel. Already I've done this. Let me show this. In my case, it has been downloaded into downloads folder. This is the file which has been downloaded for us. This is the file which has been downloaded. It's a executable jar file. So what you need to do, once the file is downloaded, double click on this file. Just to double click on this file. Then once you double click, it's going to create a folder here like this, STS 4.15. So it's saying, see, file already exists because already I've done this part. Right? So this folder will be created. Now if you open this folder, you can find an application, Spring Toolsuite application. You can find what? Spring Toolsuite application. This you make it as shortcut on desktop. So show more options, send it to desktop. Right? So this is the one which has been created as shortcut Spring Toolsuite. Now open this, run this application. So what we have to do, just to download the jar file, double click on the jar file, which is going to create the folder, STS folder. In that folder, you can find this Spring Toolsuite. That you make it as shortcut. Now it is asking to choose a workspace. So in our case, let us go with the workspace. C drive 202 for our folder, Java online file, Java programs, Spring. And in this, let me create a new folder, Spring Boot. Let me this folder. Okay. Just any folder, it's up to you. Say launch. So here it's opening, say Spring Toolsuite, similar to Eclipse. Right? Clear up to here, all of you? Any questions? Download jar file, double click on that file, it's going to create a folder. In that folder, you can find our application. Now, before we work on the Spring Boot, let us understand one important tool and very simple tool called as Lombok tool. Project Lombok tool. Very important tool and very simple tool. What is the use is Project Lombok is a Java library tool. It's a Java library tool that is used to minimize or remove the boilerplate code and save the time of developers during project development by just using some annotations. Some annotations. Let me elaborate the need of this tool. So if you remember, we create the Java bin classes, right? We create a Java bin class. Now once we create a Java bin class, we go with the properties, private int, employee ID, private string, employee name, private double employee salary. Let me say integer employee salary. Once we create the setter methods, getter methods, constructors like that, right? So we go with what? Setter method. For example, let me go with a setter method, public void set employee salary, or let me go with set ename initially, set ename, which takes string ename as argument. Then we'll say this dot ename equal to ename. Now, if you go with this one like public int get emp salary. I'm writing only part of the code. Get emp salary, which returns emp salary. Now understand carefully. So like that we have to create. Here we are having three properties. For every property we have to create setter method, getter method. Right? Setter method, getter method. Then in future, if you add some more properties, again we have to create setter method, getter method. Means whenever we add some properties, we have to update our Java bin class. That is one thing. And one more, if you go with constructors, again we have to update the constructors. ToString method, again we have to update ToString method. Means whenever your Java bin class is getting updated, every time we have to go to the setter methods, getter methods and update our code. See, one more change. Here if I change the property name, like emp name, when I change the property name, again we have to come to this setter method and getter method and we have to modify the code. emp name. So here if I change the property type as double, this employee salary I'm changing it as double. So again we have to come to the constructors, setters, getters and change the data type. And we have to change the data type. Means whenever our properties are getting updated, every time we have to go to constructors, setters, getters, ToString method and update the code. And in every class you are creating constructors, setters, getters, ToString method. That only we call boilerplate code. Repetitive job only we call boilerplate code. So whenever we create Java bin class, we are going with constructors, setters, getters, ToString method. That is repetitive job. If I go with employee, we have to do this job. If I go with student, again we have to create setters, getters. If I go with customer, we have to create setters, getters. So that repetitive job only we call boilerplate code. So to minimize or remove this boilerplate code, we use Lombok tool just by using some annotations. How to use annotation? Simple. See here, I'm writing simple. We go with what? Constructors. We go with setters. We go with getters. We go with ToString method. Right? These are common things. Now above the class, if I use annotation at the rate and no args constructor and at the rate all args constructor, all arguments constructor, then constructors are not required. Okay. If you change your properties also, no worries at all. It will manage automatically. Then if I use at the rate setter and at the rate getter, then setters and getter methods are not required. And if you write at the rate ToString, then ToString method is not required. Right? Simple plain class now. Just to create class with properties. That's it. You need not write constructors, setters, getters, ToString method. So just we manage with annotations. Pairing one more annotation at the rate data. This is similar to at the rate setter, at the rate getter, and at the rate ToString. Instead of using these three annotations, we can even simply use at the rate data. Clear all of you? The need of Lombok tool. So lot of burden, lot of time is saved to the developers because of this Lombok tool. Then how to get this Lombok tool? Download Lombok. How to download is you can use this URL https://projectlombok.org download. Let me open this. So in this page, you can find this download button. Click on this download button. So it's going to download a jar file here. It's going to download this lombok.jar file. Run this application. Just if you click here, it's going to run. Then it will ask you, choose the IDE for which you want to apply Lombok tool. So by default, it automatically take Eclipse here. It is automatically taking Eclipse IDE. Now I want to use this Lombok tool for our Spring tool suite. So we have to specify location where it is available. So specify location. So in our case, Spring Tools, it is available in C drive, users, RAS, downloads folder. Just go to the folder where your Spring Tool suite is present, STS folder. In that you can see STS folder, select this. So it is automatically taking the Spring Tool suite executable file. So just we have to choose the folder where your Spring Tool suite application is present. Then click on install button. Click on what? Install button, and after that click quit installer. That's it, or close the window. That's it. Okay. Then, and one more point, after installing Lombok, if the ID is after installing Lombok tool, if the IDs are open, if the IDs are open, close the IDs and reopen. That to close it and reopen. Then only the Lombok tool is going to work for you. Clear? Any questions? Now let us develop the application now, the complete Spring Boot application, and we are going to use Lombok in that application. Developing a Spring Boot application in STS. Now, here the application what we want to develop over here is we will be creating a product table. That is, we'll be accepting the product details from user like ID, name, and price. And these details we want to insert into product table. That's the main task over here. So for that, let us go with the database side first. Create a table product in MySQL. So here create table product ID int of 3 product name varchar of 10 then price int of 4. Let us create this table. Open MySQL prompt. Go with the password root. In my case, use Java 05, our database name. Now say create table product ID int of 3 product name varchar of 10 then price int of 4. So the table has been created. Now the next step, creating Spring Starter project. So this only we call Spring Boot project. So in order to create Spring Boot, we have to say Spring Starter project. Create a Spring Starter project in STS. How to create a Spring Starter project is open STS and choose the option here File, New, and you can see here Spring Starter project. Go with the name. I'm going with the Spring Boot project. Spring Boot project. Then type enter, choose Maven, and Java version you can go with the version like 17 or 21 or 22. I'm just going with 17. Then group I'm giving it as Spring Boot. Artifact, it takes a name only. What are the name we have given? That name only it's going to take. Package means where you want to store your .java files. com.spring.boot. Click on next button. This is important. Here we need to add the project dependencies. We need to add what here? We need to add the Spring project dependencies. Even we call it as Spring Starter dependencies. The starters. So what dependency we need to add is in available search for in available, search for a Spring Web. Go with Spring Web applications, Web MVC. Just search and make a check mark here, make a tick mark, which is going to add the dependency. The next, we want to use JDBC, Spring JDBC. So say here JDBC API. The next one, MySQL driver, and we want to use Lombok tool. So say here Lombok. So these 4 dependencies we are adding into the project here. So you need not go to Maven repository, copy the code and paste it in pom.xml file. Just we have to search in available and add it here. That's it. It's going to add the dependencies automatically. Now click on finish button. That's it. Let me document these parts. How to create a Spring Starter project. Click on File, New, Spring Starter project. Then it will ask you the name. I'm going with the Spring Boot project. Type Maven, Java version. I'm selecting 17. Then group will say Spring Boot. Artifact, Spring Boot project. Takes the name only. Then package form.spring.boot. Click next. Then in available, search for the following project dependencies and add. What we have to add? Spring Web, JDBC API, MySQL driver, and Lombok. And click finish. That's it. The project will get created. So here you can see the project got created. It's a boot project, Spring Boot project. Now if you expand, you can see pom.xml file. Now see, so it has added here Spring Boot Starter JDBC, Spring Boot Starter Web, MySQL connector, and even Lombok. So in the previous cases, we used to go to Maven repository, copy the code and paste here, but that is not required over here, right? Then under src main Java, you can see the package com.spring.boot, and you can see an application, Spring Boot project application. So this is the entry point for your Spring Boot. So when we run our Spring Boot project, it enters into this class. It's going to run this class and it is annotated as see @Spring Boot application. So the entry point for your Spring Boot is this class. Then if you open this Maven dependencies, you can find see embedded Tomcats here. It is even coming with what? Embedded Tomcat server. So you need not download Tomcat server and configure. It automatically comes with embedded Tomcat here. So these are the features. Now, before we proceed into the project, we need to add one dependency explicitly. The reason is Spring Boot does not support JSP directly. Spring Boot does not support what? JSP directly. So in order to get support, we need to download the jar files. That is, we need to add the dependencies in pom.xml file explicitly. So the dependency is add the following dependency in between dependencies element of pom.xml file of Spring Boot project. So the dependency what we need to add explicitly is open search engine like Google, and you can search here for Tomcat Jasper Maven. Tomcat Jasper. Go to this Maven repository. Choose the 10 version as we are having 10 version of Tomcat here, go with any 10 version, copy this piece of code and paste here. In between dependencies element, we have to paste. That's it. Save it. So this dependency we need to add in order to work with JSP. Right? However, I'll be sharing the code, you can use it. Got it? Any questions? So this completes our setup. Now let us enter into the project. Let us work with the application. Here the application is what? We are going to accept the product details from user, and these details we want to insert into product table. So what are the details we accept from user, like ID, name and price? These details we want to store it into a Java Bean class object. So for this, create a Java Bean class product in com.spring.boot package of src main Java folder of Spring Boot project. Let us create this Java Bean class. So under src main Java, you can see the package com.spring.boot. Right click on this package and say new class. We are going with the name product. Observe here the product class. See here, I'm going with the properties, private int product ID, private string product name, and private int price. Now observe here, observe this side. So we are having this product class with what properties? See, ID, name, and price, right? Now there are no setter methods and getter methods in this product class, and even constructors also. Now what you do? Just above the class, use the annotations like @ no args constructor, @ all args constructor, @setter, @getter, @toString. And just once you import the packages, just after typing the annotations, import the packages. See here, under this class, see, you can see all the methods got created. See, constructors, setter methods, getter methods, toString method. So I'm not creating all these methods in my class. I'm not manually typing this. So because of these constructors, it is automatically generating. In future, if I change the property type or property name, or even if you add some properties, nothing to worry. Nothing to worry. Just add only properties. You need not go to methods and modify the code. So that is the beauty of Lombok tool. Clear? Now, in order to create the JSP pages, the welcome page, for that, create a folder, web app, in src main folder. Create a welcome page, product.jsp in web app folder. So let us create this welcome page. For that, right click on src main, right click on main and say new folder, web app. And in this web app, right click and say new file. Because JSP is not supported directly, so we have to say new file, product.jsp. Product.jsp, say finish. Then type the code. Form action equal to add product. When you click on submit button, the action name is add product. Now accept the product details like product ID, input type equal to text, name equal to PID, product name, input type equal to text, name equal to p name. Product price, input type equal to text, name equal to price. Then one submit button, input type equal to submit, value equal to add product. When you click on this button add product, see the action name add product. Remember this. Now, in the case of Spring Web Applications, in the case of Spring MVC, whenever you make a request, it is going to invoke what? Controller class, right? In the case of Spring MVC, whenever you make a request, it goes to controller class. Now let us create the controller class. Create a controller class, product controller in form.spring.boot package. Product controller. So under com.spring.boot, say new class product controller. How to mark it as a controller class? By using which annotation? @controller. @controller will mark the class as a controller class. Now, in this class, so here we go with the product service, that is action class, model class, which is going to take care of inserting product object into table. So here we go with the property product service, and let us inject this property automatically. How to inject? @autovoid. Now create a method, public model and view. Yesterday we discussed on this Spring MVC module, public model and view, add product. Now, how to enter into this method? By using @request mapping. What is the mapping name? Add product. This one. In JSP file, the action name what we have used, no, that name we have to mention over here. So request mapping add product. So when you click on add product, it will enter into this controller class and enters into this method. In this method, what I should do? We should read this form data. How to read form data? Using HTTP servlet request. Using what? HTTP servlet request. Then say int_pid equal to request.get parameter of PID. Now the return type of request.get parameter is string, but we are assigning to integer. So what I should do? Go with the parsing. Integer.parsing request.get parameter of PID. Right? So this is the way we are reading the form data. So instead of going with this request.get parameter and converting into the respective property type using parsing concept, instead of this, in Spring, we can make use of one annotation. In Spring, we can make use of one annotation called as @request param. @request param, what is the parameter name? PID, and say int PID. That's it. So this is similar to this line of code. So it reads the data, PID, stores into PID, and it automatically converts into the respective data type. So no need to do parsing also. So this line is not required now. Then similar way, read other form data. @request param, pname, string pname. @request param, price, int price. That's it. So the data what we have entered in the form are now present in these variables. Now create object of product class. And set the values. Product dot set PID, product dot set PName with your PName value, then product dot set price with your price value. That's it. Now the product object is ready. Now what I do? Go with invoke the model class. So say here Boolean flag or like Boolean flag equal to call this product service dot add product and password object. This only we call invoke model. Invoke model or service or action class. So we are invoking the service class. In this service class product service, using this reference product service, we are invoking add product method. To this, we are adding this product object. So this method will take care of inserting this product object data into table. And once it gets inserted, it's going to return true. So what is written? Boolean type here. So check here. If flag, then say return new model and view success product. .php. So we are invoking view here. Else means if it is returning false, so say return new model and view failure product .php. So this is also invoke view, right? So once we invoke service, the model class, it's going to return the result. Based on the result, invoke the respective view pages. That's it. Import the respective packages. These are the packages what we have inserted. Clear this controller class, all of you? Now, let us go with the model class product service. Create a service class, product service in com.spring.boot package. Product service. So right click on com.spring.boot package and it's a new class, product service. Now we can even mark it as a service class by annotating with the annotation @service. Now this will become a service class. Now in this, go with a property. How to go? I'm going to make use of Spring JDBC over here. Spring JDBC module. So how to go with JDBC? Just use JDBC template. JDBC template. Then inject automatically @auto void. Import the packages. So when you say @auto void, you need not create setter injection, constructor injection. Now create the method public boolean add product, which takes product object as argument. Now make the SQL command. Insert into product values question marks. This is the SQL command which we want to execute. Then how to execute? int n equal to. By using this JDBC template, we simply call update method and pass your SQL command, and we have to replace this question marks with our product ID, name and price. But you are having object in hand, then how to take ID, name and price into the question marks is, since we are having object in hand, that's a new object, and here in between curly braces say here product dot get PID. When you call product dot get PID, the first question mark will be replaced with PID value. Similar way, comma product dot get PName, comma product dot get price. That's it. So it is going to execute this command with our values. ID, name and price will get inserted into the respective question box. If the record is inserted, the value of n will be 1. So check here. If n equal to 1, then return true, means the record has been inserted, else return false. That's it. This file. So here, if the record is inserted, we are returning true. If you return true, then we go with success product, else we go with failure product. This completes our controller class and even model class, the service class. Now let us go with the view parts. Create a view page. Success product.jsp in web app folder. Create one more. Create a view page. Failure product. Let us do the steps. Right click on web app and say new. We have to say choose file here. Success product.jsp and say product added successfully. Product added successfully. And create one hyperlink ahref equal to product.jsp, add a new product. So when you click on this hyperlink add new product, then it connects to product.jsp where you can add one more product. Like that, keep on moving. Now create one more JSP file. Let me just copy the code. Create one more JSP file, right click on web app and say new file, failure product.jsp. Here we simply go product not added successfully. Product not added. Product not added. And we are creating hyperlink once again. Okay, some view file. This completes our application. So in this application, we have created controller class, then model class and view pages. Right? Now, in this application, did we create Spring Bean XML configuration file? No. Did we add project dependencies in pym.xml file other than this Tomcat Jasper? No. Did we configure Tomcat server? No. Right? So these are all the features. And one more, like in web.xml file, did we configure the Spring Bean Spring MVC frontend controller dispatcher servlet? No. So even we did not go to web.xml file also. So these all burdens are reduced. So that is the main beauty of going with Spring Boot module. Clear? Then what about database connection? In the previous cases, we used to do the database connections in Spring Bean XML file. But here there is no Spring Bean XML file. Then where to go with the database connection? So the last step, update application.properties file of src main resources folder of Spring Boot project. Application.properties. Right? Now let us go with the final step. Here under src main resources, src main resources, if you expand, you can find application.properties file. Here we have to provide the database connection properties. Remove this code. Now provide the database connection properties like this: spring dot data source dot driver class name. What is the driver class name? com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. String.data source URL. What is the URL? jdbc colon mysql colon / localhost colon 3306 / java 05 or database name. String.data source username root. String.data source password root. That's it. We have done with the database connection. Very simple way to do database connections also now. So any changes in the database, just come to this application.properties file and modify the values if you are changing to Oracle or like that. Right? Now, run the project as Spring Boot app. To do, right click on Spring Boot project and say run as Spring Boot app. Open browser and type the following URL: http:// localhost colon 8080 / product.jsp. We are opening the welcome page. Let us do the steps now. How to run the project? Right click on Spring Boot project and say run as Spring Boot app. Then just say never remind me again. Now see, you can see this Spring Boot. See, so this we call Spring banner, Spring Boot banner. And if you scroll down, you can see Tomcat server started in port number 8080. Now open browser and type the URL http:// localhost colon 8080 / product.jsp. Now it is going to display the form. Fill the data. Product ID 111, product name monitor, product price 5000. Now when you click here add product, it's saying see product added successfully. Now if you click here add new product, again it will go back to the form, the welcome page. Now fill the data 222, keyboard 500. Now see how fast the response is coming. How fast the application is. Spring applications are more faster, rapid applications. See here, when you click here add product, see how fast the response is coming. That also you observe here. See one more time, 333, mouse 300. Now see add product, see how fast the response is coming. And if you check your database table, select start from product. Here the records has been inserted. Clear all of you how to work with Spring Boot module? Very simple module. But directly can we learn? No, because the coding, internal code, the JDBC template, even Hibernate template, everything, the coding, MVC concept, everything we have applied from Spring only. So it only makes Spring applications to develop rapidly. That's only the use of Spring. But the internal code, everything what we write is Spring only. So don't think that without having knowledge of Spring, we can enter into Spring Boot directly. It's not good. You have to learn Spring first. Then if you enter into Spring Boot, it will become very easy for us to understand. Right? So please practice this compulsory. Very important concept here. Then next class, Monday, I will go with the next topic, that is Spring Data JPA module and Spring REST module. Both the modules will be covering in the next class. Both are very important one. And we do by using Spring Boot only. So don't think that Spring Boot is completed in this class. So we'll be keep on using Spring Boot only in the remaining days. Right? Thank you all and happy weekend.